Uh-oh, Nyx Titania Dev Workshop has gone live. Technically about 15 hours ago, even though it's 3 hours now. I'm not going to have time to do this now, so I'll have to do it when I get back. But this was expected. They mentioned this before. Nyx is going to be changed, as is some of Titania's abilities. And let's get past the reason they're going to do it. Mainly, it's Titania came in, what, 2016? And there's been issues with her since then. Hopefully they've been addressed. And Nyx, since her last rework, hasn't really been the same. There's nothing really wrong with her. It's just, she just really needs to kind of be updated. Brought up to date was probably the better way of putting this. With a new passive, it would seem. Enemies can't seem to target her. They receive a random accuracy debuff against her. Actually, it says all enemies will receive a accuracy debuff against her, rather than what they were thinking about, which was going to be a random disarm. That could actually be pretty good. That reminds me of Zephyr's ability with her shield type ability that will make them miss with some rounds, but that was gonna pretty much be constantly. Be great if it was against her and every ally she has. Just casts it on everybody, so it should work against other Tenors, so they can't hit them as well, which would be great, because Nyx would be much more usable. Mind control is now going to be... oh, the best way I can put this, and yes, I'm trying to read this as I'm saying this, because rather than read the before, a lot of people know how Nyx used to work. I'm going to concentrate on the changes here. It's going to be... actually, I'm kind of liking that. It's going to work the same, but now, once you cast Mind Control, you are going to have a... this actually says 4 seconds to deal as much damage to them as you can. For every 2,500 damage you deal, they will get a 1.5 times damage output multiplier. So, kind of like... actually, this is like Mind Control on Absorb, because it absorbs the damage you're giving to the mind-controlled enemy, and it then deals that back out to people it's attacking. Ooh. Psychic Bolts is now going to... really? It's no longer going to be damage-based, it's going to debuff enemies, take away ancient auras, is probably the best example of that, actually. It'll deactivate the ancient auras. So if you have an enemy that's toxic based coming at you, you can do this and it should take the toxic away from them. Their auras, that is, their toxic auras. That could also be useful. It's going to lower the value of shields and armor. Ooh, okay. That is going to make Psychic Bolts more usable, because it's not that often you see people using it. And Absorb is probably the best of her abilities. You go into the thing, and now instead of it just dealing this kind of, it actually says it, magnetic damage, it will now deal out all the damage that is taking in. So if you get into a situation against Infested where you have toxic damage, slash damage, maybe some puncture, impact, radiation, viral, it's all going on to her. She's absorbing it all. When you deactivate it, it will send all of these damage types out. And the best way to put this is, if it's fed in, it's fed out. So that is actually going to make Absorb ridiculously useful, and it's going to work with the Augment as well. Really? Okay, Nyx could about to become ridiculously useful. Actually, really ridiculously useful. And I'm glad I was right there. Titania, 2016. I had to question that for a second there. It could have been early 2017. No, it was 2016. Tribute will now be castable on more than one enemy, so you will be able to get the tributes easier. Dust is going to be getting a reduction of enemy accuracy by 50%. That sounds familiar. Doesn't Nyx's passive do that? Thorns is going to do 50% more damage reflection. Oh, no, sorry. It's going to be increased to 50% damage reflection. Entangle is going to be as it is. It slows an enemy down by 25%. Full Moon, the 75% damage buff now applies to all sentinels, moas, companions, and, more importantly, the razor wing butterflies. Lantern is now going to be castable on 4 targets rather than just the one, and it's going to tether them together. I'm guessing that's going to depend on the range. You will be able to detonate it and explode it, which is going to be great. The reason I say depending on range is the tether obviously isn't going to be able to work across vast distances. It's obviously going to be if the enemies are within range. Hopefully it's not visual range, because that would just suck. And Razor Wing itself is going to be getting a lot of, well, praise for this one. It's such a little subtle change, but it is going to make such a huge impact. Razor Wing is going to have vacuum included in it, so there's no more bouncing off the walls and bouncing off the floor, trying to pick up ammo and mods and energy and things like that. It's just going to have vacuum built into it. It really should have had that to begin with. So that's going to be really... I can't see a downside to this, really. Trinity is going to be more useful. Nyx is where the questionable part of this is going to be, because I think that this passive should apply to all allies as well as Nyx. If she's in the party and it reduces the accuracy on enemies, it needs to apply to the enemy shooting at everyone, not just her. But that's going to be a pain to do. It's probably just going to be for Nyx, but it really should be for the rest of them. Mind Control is going to be kind of like a mind controlled absorb. Psychic Bolts is basically a debuff. Absorb's going to deal out all the incoming damage types. And yeah, actually that's really useful. And Titania, same kind of thing, but built-in vacuum, probably the hugest thing for her, because Razor Wing is ridiculously useful. But anyway, if you do want to voice your opinion on these changes, link is in the description below for this forum post to the dev workshop, so you can come and voice your opinion. As I say, we'll leave this off here for now. That is a lovely picture. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.